welcome in to be our guest and on the go.
On the go.
Both of the things. We need to go to Cuba.
Cuba. You know what?
Cuba.
When I say Cuba, you get different things in your mind, but you think about streets with some just very classic, beautiful cars. Is it real or is it just a touristy thing? We're going to find out the real answer.
Wow. You can tell us because I've seen them and they are for real.
Right.
So let's assume we talked about how we can get to Cuba through
Let's tell everybody who he is first.
And well, John Key, everybody should know you.
He was here last week, but just in case you weren't watching last week.
John, tell us a little bit.
It's
John Key. Tell us about the company that you have that will take people to Cuba, and then let's talk about all the amazing things that we'll see when we're there.
All right, well, my experience over the last 12 years working in Cuba has provided opportunities for people to go to Cuba and travel independently or as a small group. But you can always find us online at Visit Cuba Now, especially on Facebook for Visit Cuba Now. Look at pictures, see itineraries, and be able to get up with us to plan your trip to Cuba.
Well, among the things that I would love to see, outside of the fact that I just loved the people, I thought the people were warm, I loved the music, but let's talk about those old vintage cars are just amazing. I didn't see any new cars anywhere there. It was all
Absolutely,
fascinating.
it's like going back in time. You have many cars from the late 40s, a lot of them in the 50s and maybe early 60s, but you know, that's their main transportation even now. Many in the tourist trade, I guess, they've reconditioned a lot of these cars, so you're driving or you're riding in convertibles, 50, 60 model convertibles. You see cars that many of us haven't seen in 30 or 40 years here.
Right.
Nashes, DeSotos, just
that
really
don't exist anymore.
unique cars. And so that's one of the things that many people enjoy doing, are riding around old Havana with the top down in the back of a DeSoto or in a Nash or even a Chevrolet.
And the weather is wonderful because it's a tropical. It's 90 miles from Miami.
Absolutely.
And the foliage, the countryside, I think is beautiful. But it's fascinating. It's like, you're right. It's like you step back into time. It's like time stood still.
Mm-hmm.
And the buildings, the architecture is beautiful, but they are all, they're sort of crumbling. They haven't been kept up. It is a communist country.
It is.
Yeah. And we said something on the onset. I can't just go to delta.com and say, I want to go to Havana, and automatically I'm going to get a ticket, right?
Correct. Travel for Americans is still restricted.
Okay.
So you have to go through a travel service provider like myself, or there's a few others out there. And we all specialize in certain things, and one of the things that we specialize in would be, again, small group travel or individual travel. But the difference would be we stay in houses where it's more or less like a bed and breakfast, where someone would, you would have a room and a private bath, and you get to know those people. So one of the ways that you're able to travel to Cuba is under the category of people-to-people travel. And so that's what our whole package is about, providing opportunities for you to meet people in Cuba, experience the culture. You know, some of the culture even dates back to when the heyday of U.S.-Cuba relations.
Yep.
And we were talking earlier, much like the Tropicana Cabaret, you know, the original floor shows that they have in Las Vegas. You know, it came from Cuba. The other thing that many people are interested in seeing is the Buena Vista Social Club. And they actually still have men and women in their 90s that have 30 and 40 Grammys, and they're up there singing, and they're doing a wonderful job. Obviously, it's a mix of young and old, but it's one of the more popular items that people are interested in seeing.
Okay, so if we go over there, John, and let's just say I go with your trip, and I wake up one morning and say, well, I just want to go off on my own. Can you just go off on your own, or are there restrictions?
The restrictions are on the U.S. side. But most of the time we have an itinerary that is flexible enough to accommodate what you're wanting to do.
So you're safe to run around? More
or less, as long as it falls within the categories of travel through people to people, and we can make it work for some kind of a cultural experience. There's not a problem. Can you go to the beach? Nope. You're not supposed to go. You can't go sunbathe at the beach. Obviously, you can go look for coral, or you can look for seashells, things like that, talking with the people, finding out about certain things. That's permitted. Can you go deep sea fishing? Not really. I mean, that would be considered a tourist activity.
Okay.
Huh.
So what can we actually, I know they have changed things. When I went, you could not bring back anything but paintings, and they have beautiful paintings, great artists, but it was very limited as to what you could actually take out of Cuba.
Right.
And that has relaxed a little. You can now
Right.
bring back
Again, that's the U.S. government's restrictions.
Okay.
But now, basically, any painting or artwork you can bring back, and you're limited to $100 in value of commercially produced items, such as cigars, like we have in front of us, or
Right.
rum. You know, some of the more famous things that the Cubans produce. But they even have perfume, and I think you have some of that perfume, Miss Virginia. Things like that.
But you can bring back $100 worth of your choice.
Correct.
Of
Commercially produced items. But now, art and things, $800 is the maximum on that.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fascinating, and the history, like Ernest Hemingway, they have this beautiful bronze statue in the El Floridita.
That's right, in
And,
the Floridita Bar and Lounge, the cradle of the daiquiri.
Yes.
But some of the other things that you're able to see, we go to, we follow the Hemingway tour, I guess you would say. Go to some of the hotels that he stayed in at first. We visit the farm that he lived on for 20 years and wrote most of his works.
Right.
That's good.
It's fascinating.
Well, John, thank you so much. It's been fascinating, to say the least. And remember, Cuba's right around the corner. If you do want to make a trip, get a hold of John or call us so we can get you connected with John. And we'll be right back right after this.